story is all about governments wasting money. Jay Goldberg is here. But we don't waste money here. We're very frugal. So make a donation, keep us on the air. Frugal is our word. Jay Goldberg. It seems that everywhere we read about these days, electric vehicles are in trouble with everybody but for the government. So Honda's stopping, the batteries are stopping, Canada's invested billions, and is it all going down the toilet?
Well, a lot of it's going down the toilet. The government keeps saying, well, certain money hasn't been out the door, but a lot of money has been out the door if you're talking about starting to pay to build those factories, which the government's committed to in many cases. So money has gone out the door, not all of the money, but a lot of the money. But the bottom line is they've gambled tens of billions of dollars on some really bad deals. And you mentioned you've had, the Ford Motor Company, you've had Stellantis, you've had Honda either say we're not going to build certain cars anymore or put a pause for a few years. You heard Doug Ford saying, I spoke to the CEO of Honda, everything's fine. Honda called me, everything's fine. It's just a pause for a few years. Well, guess what? A pause for a few years is the prelude to it's not happening. We all know this from relationships. If you go on a 3-year pause, it's not going to turn out well. It's not going to turn out well.
You're absolutely right. It's just sort of a soft way out, or you don't want to offend the people who are giving you the billions of dollars. But so Canadians, did we get suckered in more than other countries, do you think? Because I know that Ford and Trudeau, all the billions that they were panting out, and it's not only the cars, but it's the battery plants.
It's the battery plants. If you look at Northvolt, which was going to set up in Quebec, and the government of Quebec bought stakes in the company, they gave money to build the plant, the federal government was kicking in money, and Northvolt's gone bankrupt. So that was a huge loss for Quebec taxpayers in particular, but Canadian taxpayers as well.
You don't hear about that very much, though, about these companies going bankrupt. Is that because we have paid press?
Well, it's quite possible. But I mean, listen, this has been one of the bad bets of the century by our governments here in Canada. And they were trying to compete against the Americans, the Inflation Reduction Act. But the whole idea was, we all knew as soon as Joe Biden was no longer president, that was going to be repealed. And Canada's left sitting holding the bag.
Well, Jay, is it just because then, though, that we have had and we still have some political leaders who are so far ahead of dolts like you and I, so far ahead of the Canadian people, the Canadian, workers who don't want to drive an electric truck for 4 hours a day to and from work.
Right, and get this, Doug Ford said during the provincial election, even if the Inflation Reduction Act gets repealed in the States, which was the whole basis for all of these deals, the Ontario government's going to stand behind the deals and push to build these cars even if people don't want them. What kind of insanity is this with our tax dollars?
Even if people don't want them. We're going to have fields and fields and fields of electric cars just rusting away. It doesn't seem very democratic, does it?
Paid for by you and me.
It's just so painful to talk about. But we got to expose this stuff because there's a lot of baloney going out there. Jay, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act, once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.